Hey, friends. I think we are live and rolling. While I'm waiting for you to comment your questions, I'm going to pop up a stream of my own here to make sure the audio is working right. But you can go ahead and start commenting your questions, and I'll start answering them here in just a second. Let's see. Hey, I just heard myself cough, so that works. All right. This is Ask Mike Anything. I take any questions you have. Those of you that know me know I'm a pastor. I have been for 20 plus years. You look blurry, Dad, is all I'm going to say. It could be slow internet. And let me plug this in, see if that helps. But you can still type in questions. I'll still answer them. Audio should at least be working right. And yeah, but I've been a pastor for 20 years or so. Done a lot of youth ministry. Currently serve 2 congregations in Southeast Michigan. I love what I do. We'll take any and all questions you have about faith and theology, that kind of thing, and any other topic too. I'm interested in a lot of things. You can look at the background. You see I got a life-size Sheldon Cooper. I got a poster of RBG back there, all sorts of stuff, all sorts of interests, music. So you can ask Mike anything. While I'm waiting for questions, though, I do have my my handy dandy pod decks here. Here we go. All right, so Robert, just so you know, I tried sending you an email this week, and I think I had your wrong email. So if you can message me that on Facebook Messenger, that'd be helpful. Yeah, it came back to me that I had the wrong email address. I probably typed it in wrong, but that would be helpful. So Robert says, there is white stuff falling from the sky. Is this a sign of the apocalypse? What should I start hoarding? I saw today Marquette, Michigan, which is just a couple hours north of where I grew up, got like almost 8.5 inches of snow in the overnight, and that's just ridiculous. It's a ridiculous amount of snow. It's going to be a rough winter. If you're going to hoard things, I would say if you're concerned about your water not working, water is important. Shelf-stable food and bourbon. Bourbon's usually a good one. All right. So we're gonna draw from the deck here. Oh, this is good. My dad's listening. For reference, you're in New Mexico, Robert. Then I would just say wait a little bit. It'll melt. It ain't gonna last long. Yeah, you don't need long-term shelf-stable food. You'll be out and about in no time. All right, so my first card from the card deck tonight is when were your parents most disappointed in you? That's a tough one. So when were my parents most disappointed in me? I would probably say early on in high school, I ran with some friends that were not the best influence, not the best people, and I did things and got involved in things that were not good, not good for just not good. Stupid teenage stuff, but yeah. Let's see. Danny boy, my friends were all too busy and weak to run down on tap for me this week. Should I get new friends? No. You should understand that, like yourself, who is not in town this week, we all have things to do. We all have busy times. And this just happens to be a supremely busy week for me, and I have to get things done. Uh, and I can't, just can't do it this week. So sorry, buddy. I think we'll be okay. Uh, let's see. No, they were named Mike and Todd. So, yeah, Danny boy, what I'm telling you is, even if you were here and Doubt on Tap was going on, I wouldn't be able to make it this week. It just wouldn't happen, whether I was moderating or not. Let's see. Other questions besides those from Dan, who's out road tripping across the Midwest. I mean, Dan can still ask questions, but just not the one where he acts all hurt and offended. If you are in particular in my neighborhood, you could drive past our house if you want. I finally finished getting some Halloween inflatable decorations up. Those were it looks pretty cool out there in the front yard. Oh, Dan, you should go to a doctor anyway. I'm not even going to put that up on the screen. Just go to a doctor. Yeah. Boogers as big as mine or not, you should go to a doctor. I got any hanging out there? I'm all right. I'm pretty clean. So I did. I talked about Ask Mike Anything in my sermon this last week. Oh, there's a good one, Robert. What is the biggest mistake you've made as a pastor? Man. The biggest mistake I made that had repercussions against me, where I wound up being the one getting hurt, was sharing some personal information while I was a youth pastor with a person I thought was a friend about struggling with depression, and they turned around and used that to try and get me fired, which was just weird and mean and dumb, and it hurt. As far as mistakes I've made that affected others, man, you know, I've had some people walk out on sermons before. I've had people leave the church because things I said didn't line up with what they thought should be. But yeah, probably though, if I had to think about it, it would be when I started in Ypsilanti. I asked a question in a church council meeting about golden calves in the church. I wanted to know what the golden calves were. And for me, that is a reference of what are the false idols that people are worshiping? What are the things that we need to probably work at taking down and moving out of the way? And I think somebody else took that as golden calves are the things we're going to avoid touching and changing too much. And that person got really hurt when when they named their golden calves, and then I like ripped them down, kind of deal. That was I don't know, it was a mistake, but it's a regret for sure. because it could have been handled a lot better. Uh, Dad, that's 42. Thank you. And Dan, it's boxer briefs, man. It's boxer briefs. I'm a both and kind of guy. All right. Oh, who's my favorite Golden Girl and why? Leslie, great question. I I've always been a fan of Betty White. Um, but I have to say, Sophia. She was just, yeah, I like Sophia a lot. She just her lines, her delivery was, it was always unexpected, even when it was expected. Dan, Deadpool or Wolverine, and why? Um, I like Wolverine, but you really can't beat the Merc with the mouth. Deadpool, it's one of those things where I feel like Deadpool and I would have gotten along really well in grade school, more so than than me and Wolverine. BC Fraser, who makes the best local mead? Well, that would be Maniacal Mead, and you're not even paying me to say that. Maniacal Mead is a Ipsy-based meadery that just makes some tremendous mead, and it's one of those luxuries I wish I could afford a little more often. I saw you guys had a tasting at the Shell gas station on Friday night. We were going to a drive-through Halloween haunted thing in Taylor, so I didn't get to go. And my wife pointed out very, I mean, she was right that had I gone to the free mead tasting, it would not have been free. So because I would have bought things. But yeah, I'm glad you're here. We should hang out sometime. All right, who's the better band, Lincoln High School or OSU? Know your audience. I don't know. What is I don't know OSU. What's OSU? I really don't know my audience apparently. I of those two, the only one I know is Lincoln, so I go Lincoln. But also because, Leslie is amazing. So anyway, Dan wants to know Knob Creek or Hellcat Maggie, buddy. That is a tough choice, but I would go Hellcat because that just there's nostalgia to that now. All right. This is my dad. Faith is always important, but will it be even more called upon following the election one way or the other? I think right now faith is supremely important, and I think for a lot of people, we're finding because we can't necessarily connect in the ways we used to, that faith for some is falling by the wayside. That there is a void being carved out in people. Because this is a hard time. The pandemic. Forget the election for a minute. The pandemic itself is a hard time. So yeah, faith is supremely important. I think when we come to a point where it is safe to gather again, and to try and incorporate some of the get-togethers and gatherings and worships that we are accustomed to, we may see some awakening. We may see more people coming in, just because of how difficult this time has been. As far as the election goes, we're, no matter who wins, we're still dealing with politics, we're still dealing with a system that needs to be fixed, um, regardless of who wins. And 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 our faith it needs to be in God. It needs to be in Christ. It needs to be in each other to fix the things that are wrong, um, and not try and leave it up to the politicians. So, good question. Oh, so okay, so I'm guessing that the OSU question was Ohio State. Um, Robert, no offense, buddy, but um, I would not rank Ohio as better at anything, um, except like uh, maybe they're the best at being south of Michigan. Maybe I don't know. Um, so is there a BC Fraser? Is there gonna be a next one? When is the next one? I would like dates and information on that, man. All right, let's see. Here we go. Ephesians 6:4 tells fathers to likewise not antagonize or provoke their children. Can you give an example of antagonism that would negate a child's honor of their parent, as is commanded in Ephesians 6:2? Huh. So yeah, when we're talking about antagonism, we're talking about provoking our kids. It's uh, it's in a way that we're talking about that is leading them, uh, pushing them towards that dishonoring of their parents, and it's probably. I mean, there are all sorts of things people can do to their kids that would negate them needing to honor their parents. Um, parents can be pretty messed up. Um, and yeah, I am always one to shoot for reconciliation, to shoot for redemption. But if we're talking about antagonism in terms of abuse, neglect, verbal, physical abuse, um, it's okay. Emotional abuse. It's okay for that child to distance themselves, to be away from that family, that parent. Um, yeah, there is no situation that I can think of where if you're under physical, mental, emotional abuse, that you need to stay in and honor that relationship, whether it's marriage or parent child. If there is something toxic happening, um, if there is something that is degrading your humanity, uh, get out. You don't need to be a part of that. Um, my own dad is on here right now, and he and I don't see eye to eye on some things. Um, especially when we get into to big election seasons and things like that. Um, and sometimes those conversations get difficult, and it gets difficult for me uh, to not say things that I know will be hurtful. Um, and so I step aside. We hang up the phone. We stop talking for a little bit, not because we don't love each other anymore, but because we know the best thing we can do to love each other in the best way possible at that point is to step back, is to not keep pushing until the other person uh, uh, breaks and says something they really don't mean. Um, so yeah, I hope that that helps answer that. All right. Yeah, I've been out of Mead for a while. Um, I'm gonna have to sort that out. All right. Well, while I'm waiting for more questions, I have another card from the What the Heck deck. Says, describe your sense of humor in one word. Childish. Childish. Yeah. Um, I have I have really been rocking some of the old Adam Sandler lately, and I tried. He just had a Netflix special go out. Adam Sandler, 100% fresh. He's doing a lot of the kind of music stuff that he does, and it was really good. And so I'm like, oh, Bree, sit down, watch this with me. And we start it, and like I look over, and I'm busting a gut laughing. Bree's not laughing at all. And Bree's not one to laugh out loud on the regular anyway, but I could tell she really wasn't enjoying that. So I turned on a different comedian that wasn't quite so childish in their antics, and she laughed at that. So, all right, Robert, here we go. Should the Bible be updated, not just translated to modern language, but to reflect modern living, race, sexuality, thinking? So I don't know. I mean, there are paraphrases out there that sort of do that. Um, that try to like the Message as a paraphrase. It doesn't translate word for word. It translates thought for thought, and does so into a more modern context. But I don't know. Um, I don't know if you're talking about something more than that. Because really what we're dealing with is we're dealing with stories and letters and poetry. Um, I think the Bible definitely needs to be understood more in its context. We have our Bibles that are bound together in one massive volume, but this is 66 distinct uh, pieces of work, and then if you count the Psalms, that's even more. Um, they're distinct and written for a purpose, for a specific group of people in a specific time, and we can draw inspiration from that, and we can relate to God through that. But I don't know, if we could necessarily update it. It's not like taking like we've done, like you've seen. They did a few years ago. They did Jesus Christ Superstar. They took the original movie, and then they like did it live, and they updated it, and the costumes and the way that that kind of thing. I don't know that you can necessarily do that with scripture much more than we have with paraphrases. But check out the Message. Check out other paraphrases that are out there that might help with some of that understanding, and that do reflect modern living a little more. The other piece is there is enough information out there now, and it's searchable enough that you can find some of the original or get close to the original cultural context for some of these passages that maybe don't reflect modern living, but can help you understand a little bit more what's happening in that specific time and place. Let's see. Have you ever talked with anyone who has had a near-death experience or thought they saw heaven, God, an angel? I'm sure that I have. Um, I mean, I've been next to people who are in the process of dying, saying they're seeing those things, or fading in and out, saying they're seeing those things. Um, and it's one of those. It's one of those pieces that that you don't really, as skeptical as you may be when somebody's telling you this experience, um, you never want to criticize it because it's their experience. It's what they saw, and it was profound and meaningful for them. Um, and you don't want to take that away. You don't want to say, "Oh, no, 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 that was just you were oxygen deprived and your head was doing it." No, because we can try and explain those kinds of things, um, but if people have an experience, whether it's oxygen deprivation or not, and it has an effect, and helps change them, inspire them, push them to do better. Um, yeah, I don't want to take that away. On the other hand, if they come away from a situation like that and they're like, "Yeah, life just ain't worth living now, and it's all gonna burn," and they just are tuning out and becoming a worse version of themselves, then that might be a point to have that. Um, but it's nice to think about. I'll tell you. Well, and you know this because you're my dad, and you walked through a lot of it with us. When we lost Carl, our son, to leukemia, I remember in that first month, uh, every night that I went to sleep, uh, hoping and praying uh, that heaven is as real as everyone describes, because I want to see him again one day. And it, because for me, faith is not about getting my ticket punched so I can go to heaven someday. Um, that's not it at all. And so, but in the wake of losing my son, it was very much a hope and a prayer, uh, still very regular, uh, that that's going to be as real and better than I could have ever imagined, um, uh, so that those reunions and kinds of things can happen. Um, so I don't know if that's what you're hoping for, pops, but that's where your question brought me. Have I ever watched Rick and Morty? No, I don't think so. There are times when like my kids are watching stuff and I'm working on stuff, but I don't know if that's something my kids would watch. So. Sarah, you did miss the honoring your parents answer. I can give you the rundown later, or you can go back and watch that at about 15 minutes in after this posts up. All right. Other questions? Moving on to the Would You Rather deck. While you guys type. Oh my goodness. This is very fitting for me, as a question, given my calling. Would you rather accidentally laugh loudly at a funeral, or fart while giving a speech at a wedding? I don't know which of those I could cover easier. If I'm presiding at the funeral, I could probably cover it. Um, at the wedding, uh, chances are it's going to be the bride and groom, maybe the best man and maid of honor that know, and they're going to be too nervous to tell. So I'm gonna probably say I would rather. Well, it's while giving a speech. It's while doing the sermon at the wedding. I am going to go laugh at the funeral. That's just going to be easier to cover. All right. Robert, scariest horror movie and movie that messed with your head the most. So I posted about this earlier this week. Poltergeist came up on Netflix, and that was like the scariest movie for me growing up. And so I watched it, and it was still pretty. Like I didn't have nightmares like I did when I was a kid, but it was still like, all right. Movie that messed with my head the most. I'm gonna go with the Blair Witch Project. I saw that opening weekend for it, like opening night of it. Nobody had any clue. There was no nothing in the news about this was a new genre of film called found footage that people make to look like it was found footage. It was all really just acting, but shot in this way. None of that had come out yet. And I went to the movie theater at an IMAX down in Milwaukee, and like there were no credits at the end. There was no music throughout. It was just such a weird experience, and just kind of messed me up a little bit, especially like at the end. At the end, the tension got broken. Right, we're in this huge theater with tons of people, and the screen goes black at the end. No credits, like I said, and everything's quiet. You can hear a pin drop for a couple seconds, and then somebody down near the front shouts out, "Anybody want to go camping?" And it broke the tension on that. And then, of course, the next day we find out that it is this hoax of a movie. It's not real, and all that. So, oh, Leslie, that is the right answer. Fart and then look at the bride. Really weird. Yes. I like that a lot. Michaela's not sure because she didn't hear the question. What's up, kiddo?
What's the question?
The question was, would you rather come here? Would you rather accidentally laugh loudly at a funeral or fart while giving a speech at a wedding? Which would you rather? You have to choose. You walked in the room. You have to choose.
Fart while giving a speech.
You're going to take Leslie's advice, right? You're going to fart while giving the speech and then look at the bride like it was her fault? Man. I'll remember that at your wedding.
Wait. I'm giving a speech about being the new bride. I fart. I look at myself. Easy.
All right.
11-year-olds.
she's 11. She's very proud of that. All right, David Weber, if you could drink only one liquid for the rest of your life, what would you choose, and which bourbon would it be? Listen, buddy, I am a huge fan of bourbon, but if I could only drink one liquid for the rest of my life, it would be water, because I want my life to be longer. If you're asking if I could only drink one liquor for the rest of my life, what would you choose, and which bourbon would it be? If I only get one bourbon the rest of my life, right now I'd go with Larceny, because that's my favorite right now. It's good, it's strong, it's affordable. It's not top shelf, it's not bottom shelf. So yeah, that'd be the way I'd go. There's water in bourbon. Yes, there is, but not to the extent of sustaining life for long. All right. Any more questions? Down to the last deck here. What is the weirdest thing you've ever eaten? Probably caviar. Yeah. Like I know there are weirder things in the world to eat. And I think like I've done chocolate covered grasshoppers or things like that, but if it's chocolate covered, it doesn't really count. It's weird because it's just chocolate. And anyway, yeah, I'd have to go caviar. All right. How do you think your life would be now if you were born a girl? I would probably have more hair, or wear a wig. Um, you know, yeah, that is a difficult one to ponder because, yeah, I don't know that Bree and I would be married. I don't know that Michaela or Braylee would be around. And that kind of makes me sad. Yeah. Yeah, that question makes me sad. Not the prospect of being a girl, but like that it would probably mean my family wouldn't be my family, which makes me sad. All right. We have more journal entries from my 10-year-old journal. Not my journal from 10 years ago, but my journal from when I was 10. Here we go. We got a question from Robert. Would you rather be stuck in Groundhog Day, reliving a single day over and over, or Endgame, where people just vanish in front of you? Remember both things. You don't know the ending when you're in it. Trying to remember Endgame. Okay, I can't remember Endgame right now. I'm pretty sure I saw it, but I can't remember it. Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day feels a lot like a whole bunch of 2020. If I'm being honest, I've already done that kind of. Feels like I've survived that okay. Endgame of the Avengers. All right. Let me walk that back. Man, if I get to be in an Avengers, like if I get to be stuck in an Avengers movie, yeah, I go Endgame, man. I go Endgame. All right. What's on my bucket list? Lots of travel. I want to go lots more places. I want to go back really bad right now. I want to go back very much jonesing to go back to Palestine and Israel and Egypt. I had talked on the phone with a friend of mine from Jerusalem and Jericho, that area. Probably half hour or so today, and it's tough over there too. Like if we thought our government was like, hey, here's $1,200 that'll get you through the next 8 months, theirs was even less. And this guy owns a couple of shops that depend on tourism, and that's not very good. But anyway, I want to travel. I want to get back over there. I want to see. Like right now, I could really just use a week on the beach. Pretty much any beach where it's warm. Michaela Stucker headed to agree with me. Let's see. Write a book. I want to write a book. I don't know yet what it would be, which is part of the problem. And as I talked about this morning on Fun with Faith, like I get to the point in writing a sermon where I start to spiral, and that gets difficult. Where I'm wanting to say all of the things at once, and we need to tone that down. So I'm gonna write a book. Love to write a few more songs someday. Yeah, see my kids grow up and be contributing members to society, that kind of stuff. Oh, I do want to say, folks, and I want to be clear because I'm about to put up a couple websites for some friends of mine in Palestine. My friend Jimmy, who I was talking about this morning, and my friend Chris, they both have shops there. They are that depend on tourism that has not been happening because of the coronavirus. So you can go to either of these. They don't have prices listed because it's artwork and it's yeah. Anyway, but you can contact them and they will get you a price. And if you tell them that you're friends with me, they will give you the family rate. So you can go to jimmysbazaar.com. They primarily handle olive wood carvings. Jimmy employs 13 different wood carvers, and there are things on there for every price range. You just got to dig a little bit and ask. Don't be afraid to ask. Jimmy's a good guy. And if you ever come to the Holy Land with us when we go, when we can go, you'll get to meet Jimmy. We like taking people to his shops. And then you can go to nissanbros.com. This is a bigger shop in Bethlehem. Any olive wood from both of those shops, any of the olive wood stuff comes directly from the Holy Land. It is harvested there. It is dried there. It is carved there, and that's how people make a living. There are things as inexpensive as $5. They have deals where you spend a certain amount and you get free shipping, kind of thing. But they're great things for Christmas gifts, for things like that. I have a couple right here. This is a carving of Jesus carrying the cross. This is they call an abstract of Jesus, Mary, and Joseph on their way to Egypt. Beautiful things. I have one of the Last Supper that I won in a raffle at annual conference a couple of years ago from Nissan Bros that's retails for about $2,500 that I won because I'd never be able to do that otherwise. But Nissan Bros also has jewelry for all different price ranges, all sorts of other things. So check those out. Check out Nissan Bros. Check out jimmysbazaar.com. Tell them you know me, and you'll get the family discount, as it were. And again, they're not. I get nothing for this. They don't pay me to schlep for them. They're just good people, and that's how they make a living. and I want to help them out if I can. I actually, when I was on the phone with Jimmy, I placed an order myself. So please do consider that, and they can ship out pretty quick. That'll be interesting to see once it hits the U.S. mailing system how quickly that comes. All right. David, if Trump ran as a Democrat with the same attitude he has shown as a Republican, but was for generally Democrat values instead of general Republican values, what would the world look like right now? Man, it would probably look fairly similar. You know, I don't like the idea of things being done by executive order on either side of the aisle. I don't want to see the things that are more in keeping with my ideology. I don't want to see them shoved down the throat of people who don't agree. I think there has to be compromise. So I don't know that the world would look much different because the attitude is for me the bigger issue. I think just as I'm reading that question and in my initial reaction is the attitude is a bigger issue for me. Because it's not an attitude of bringing people together. And that I think for a president needs to be a top priority, is helping Americans, helping people to be people, helping the American people to be the American people, and see that what you're trying to do, whether it's Republican or Democrat idea, helping people to come along and understand that what you're trying to do is going to be helpful or beneficial for them in some way, instead of shoving it down their throat, and doing things that just rub people the wrong way. So it's a good question, though. Good question. All right. Any other thoughts, questions out there? I keep forgetting to tell people you can, like, share, and subscribe or whatever all those things are. I appreciate that if you do that. Then you get to know when we go live on different things like Fun with Faith or Ask Mike Anything or other things we do. Hey, so I have a question for all of you. So Advent and Christmas are going to look very different this year. And I'm thinking like groups of people getting together to go caroling really can't happen right now. But what if part of what we did on Sunday mornings or Christmas Eve is we asked for people to, like, just in their family groups, to record themselves singing a Christmas carol, like outside their own front door. You guys think that would be a cool thing? I think that would be a cool thing. And like we can put videos together, splice stuff together. All right. Anyway, that's just me thinking out loud. My dad, how about those Packers? Abso-friggin-lutely. It was a very laid back way to watch football last night. There just wasn't a worry from beginning to end. And I mean, like, I was worried when I saw Aaron Jones wasn't starting or wasn't playing. But I got to tell you, my fantasy football, I am kicking the snot out of the Todd right now. We each have a receiver playing in tonight's game for opposite teams, and his receiver is going to have to score a lot to beat me tonight. So he's not going to beat me. And Dave, you're still in last place, buddy. How did that happen? You were like always up near the top. And of course, Pastor Dan, who was on but is gone, I think now. He named his team last place, and he's currently in first. And if you're not interested at all in fantasy football, I apologize, but um, it tickles me. All right. If you could go to annual conference and could change one thing about the church, what would it be? Oh, that's kind of an easy. Well, annual conference. If I could go to general conference and change one thing about the church, which is general conference is like where you can change things on a denominational level. It would definitely be the full inclusion, acceptance, and affirmation of LGBTQ clergy and allowing pastors who choose to perform same-sex weddings, same-sex marriages. That would be the big changes I would make. Changing that one thing, that's what it would be. Changing more things down the road, or if I could lump it in with that one change, would be more attention and focus paid to making sure that female clergy are given just as much respect and credence and helping congregations that traditionally have not accepted female clergy to accept them, whether it's some type of training for them or what. But I think for sure that needs to be something that changes too. Female clergy should not have the struggles they have. They just shouldn't. So. Yeah, general conference. Yep. So yeah, those would be my big ones for general conference, which is probably why I'll never go to general conference. And even if I did, it's all politics, very little heart at this point. All right. Any other questions? You go ahead and type those. I'm gonna start reading from the journal from when I was 10. Let's see. All right. Saturday, April. Remember, I spelled April. When I was 10, I spelled it Aprail. Saturday, April 8th, 1989. I found that my wire was loose on my braces, so my mom cut them off with pliers. P.S. My mom says the whining has to stop, but I don't think so. You know what's funny is my mom lives with us, and she still says the whining has to stop, only to my kiddos. And now my oldest also has braces. Sunday, April 9th, 1989. I was going to clean my room. Me and my mom and my brother Brad went visiting instead. So my mom left a note for my dad telling him why my room was not clean. All right. Monday, April 10th, 1989. I got my braces fixed and it only took about 5 minutes. I finally cleaned my room. So here's the thing. My orthodontist, when I got my braces, was in Green Bay. We lived about an hour from Green Bay. So if something went wrong with my braces, it was an hour there to get it fixed and an hour back. And that also usually meant like my mom's, the stores are down there, the bigger stores, right? Because we live in a small town. We'll stop at the bigger box stores and get things. And so if I had an issue with my braces, that meant at least a half a day out of school. And so I had no problem with like, I popped a wire, let's go. Because I hated school. All right. Tuesday, April 11th, 1989. I went to Debbie Hayward's, who's a friend of my mom and dad's house, and my mom and dad tried to. Okay. So this is me not telling a complete story. I went to Debbie Hayward's house, and my mom and dad tried to get it out, but they finally got it out. But I had a good time. I have a feeling the car got stuck. Is what I'm thinking. So that was that week in April 1989. All right. What is my favorite Halloween candy? Not candy corn. That's for sure. I like a good Kit Kat or a Twix, I think. But I also go for like the caramel apples. I like those too. All right. Once the separation, Ryan RT buddy, how's it going? Once the separation of church and state gets undone, how do you think this will affect your church? Buddy, the undoing of the separation of church and state would be very troubling indeed. I don't know that it would necessarily affect the way my congregations act, look, or behave. Like if there were certain things we had to do, like if we wound up having to pay taxes, or if we wound up like the government's going to subsidize you. I have a feeling if the government came in and said, "Hey, we're going to subsidize you, you be our mouthpiece," folks would say, and I would say, "Hell no." But yeah, I have a feeling, and I hope, and I know where you're coming from with that. I don't know. I don't know that can be undone any quicker or easier than like the Second Amendment could be undone. So I'm hopeful in that, at least, that there is process in place. Now, nightmare scenario. I have a feeling we're going to be worrying about a lot more than how it affects the congregations. Oh, excuse me. RT, good to see you though, buddy. We need to hang out. I need to talk to you about brewing tea. But yeah, I'll hit you up on the Telegram later. All right. Besides a Simple Theologian podcast, what is my favorite podcast? Once in a while, I do like listening to my buddy RT on the Atheist Perspective. That is a good podcast. But I'm a big fan of Radio Lab. I also like This American Life. I liked Serial when it was on. I don't know if it's back on yet, but Serial was a lot of fun. And I was told about one this week I haven't listened to yet, but it is, here, let me pull it up. It is Learning How to See, and it's Brian McLaren, Richard Rohr, and Reverend Jackie Lewis. And from what I can tell, people told me about it, and then I look, and it is all about seeing through all of the political muck and mire, all of the things that are trying to divide people and not let people see each other as people. So yeah, I'm excited to get to listen to that. There are 4 episodes out now. The Robcast is good. Let's see. I got my podcast app out. Fundamentalists is good. The New Activist is all right. The Liturgist is a lot of fun. Let's see. Atheist Perspective I talked about. Richard Rohr has one, Another Name for Everything, which is kind of his podcast about his book, The Universal Christ. So that's also a good one to look at. Yeah. Oh, and More Perfect. I don't know if they've done anything new lately, but More Perfect was about the Supreme Court. That was really good. So take a look at those. Those are some good ones. All right. Any other final questions? We are at an hour, but if we got a question or two, I'll keep taking them. If not, we can say goodnight. Do share this out. Do like, comment, subscribe, all those things. And here's the thing: if you have questions that pop into your head throughout the week, you can message me those on Facebook Messenger or Twitter or whatever, and I will be more than happy to actually prepare some things, if especially if you think they're more involved questions. I don't mind doing a little bit of research. So yeah, Robert, Radiolab is amazing. Yeah. All right. All right. Well, if I get any other questions in the leg space now, I will try and save those for next week. Until then, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your time, and know that God loves you, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. Peace, y'all.